Hi, I'm Hannah. Last weekend, during our family reunion, my 8-year-old daughter Lily suddenly became the center of hushed conversations and sidelong glances. I didn't know why, until I overheard my mother-in-law, Ella Lehner, unveiling proof of my supposed affair. But let me start from the beginning. I met David 10 years ago in a coffee shop near the hospital where I worked as a pediatric nurse. He accidentally spilled his latte on my scrubs. Instead of getting angry, I burst out laughing at his panicked apologies. Later, he told me that moment, my ability to laugh through chaos, was what drew him in. At first, his mother, Ella Lehner, acted warm and approving. She'd smile, squeeze my hand at family dinners, and call me a lovely girl. But behind her words, her eyes told a different story, sharp, watchful, calculating. When David proposed 6 months later, her mask cracked. "Are you sure, darling?" she asked. "There are plenty of girls from good families who'd be a better match." But David stood firm, and we had a beautiful spring wedding. I thought that would put her doubts to rest. I was wrong. When I became pregnant with Lily, her hostility sharpened. One night, I overheard her whispering to David, "She trapped you. A baby this soon. How convenient." David defended me, but her suspicion never faded. When Lily was born, David's piercing blue eyes, my dark curls, Ella Lehner picked at every detail. "She doesn't really look like you, does she?" she'd say with feigned innocence. Over the years, her subtle remarks turned into barbed comments. "Funny how strong family genes are," she'd muse, showing Lily pictures of blonde-haired, blue-eyed relatives. So when David urged me to attend last weekend's reunion without him, he had a last-minute business trip, I agreed for Lily's sake. "She loves playing with her cousins," he reminded me. I should have known better. The whispers began at lunch. Aunt Sarah avoided my gaze. Uncle Jim busied himself with his phone the moment I walked into the room. Fragments of conversation floated around me. Ella Lehner found proof. Poor David. That doctor she worked with. My chest tightened as I followed the trail of murmurs to the study. There was Ella Lehner, standing like the star of her own performance, surrounded by David's cousins. In her hands was a stack of papers. "Hannah worked closely with this Dr. Richards," she announced, her voice dripping with mock sympathy. "A very handsome man, and these dates, 9 months before Lily was born. Draw your own conclusions." I froze in the doorway. Dr. Richards, my colleague, my friend, the man who had been there for me and David, who had even helped deliver Lily, and he happened to be gay. "Mom?" Lily's small, shaky voice sliced through the tension. She had heard everything. Her wide, tearful eyes met mine, and in that instant, something inside me shifted. The fear I'd carried for years burned away. I stepped forward, my voice ringing clear and sharp through the room. "Ella Lehner, would you care to explain why you're spreading lies about my daughter's paternity?" She spun around, her eyes glittering with triumph. "Lies? I have proof," she declared, waving the papers like a weapon. "The dates, the doctor, your position at the hospital, it all lines up. I'm only protecting my son." "Protecting him?" I shot back, pulling out my phone. I held up a photo of Dr. Richards and his husband from our last Christmas party. "This is the man you're accusing me of. He's been married for over 10 years. And those dates, my prenatal appointments, he only delivered Lily because my OB was called away." Color drained from her face, then came back in a furious flush. "That still doesn't explain why Lily looks nothing like us." "Enough." David's voice sliced through the room. Everyone turned. He stood in the doorway, Lily clinging to his side, her cheeks streaked with tears. He wasn't supposed to be home until tomorrow, but here he was, his expression hard as stone. "David," Ella Lehner began, her voice sticky sweet. "I was just trying to destroy my family." His words hit like thunder. "Lily called me sobbing, saying her grandmother was calling her mother a liar. So, I came back, protecting me. You think ripping apart the woman I love and shattering my daughter protects me?" His eyes burned. "I've had enough, Mother." The room fell silent except for Lily's soft sniffles as I held her close. David's voice dropped lower, but his resolve didn't waver. "We're leaving. Don't expect to see us again until you've changed, truly changed." We walked out as whispers swirled behind us. But this time, they weren't about me, they were about Ella Laner, standing rigid, her evidence scattered like ash on the floor, her perfect mask crumbling. Still, I knew this wasn't over. Ella Laner never conceded. She regrouped, and what she did next would make everything far worse. The week after the reunion was unsettling, too quiet, too still. Her silence wasn't surrender, it was a warning. "Mommy, why isn't Katie talking to me anymore?" Lily's small voice cracked. She clutched her phone, her eyes swimming with hurt. "Let me see," I murmured, taking it gently. My stomach twisted. One by one, every cousin, even Katie, her best friend since toddlerhood, had blocked her. Among the cruel messages, one from Katie's mother stood out. "Your mother is spreading lies about my family. We can't associate with you anymore." David read it over my shoulder, his jaw tightening. "She's targeting Lily now, that's a new low." He grabbed his phone and dialed his sister Marie, the only one who defended us at the reunion. Her voice on the other end was grim. "Mom's telling everyone Hannah was investigated at the hospital for inappropriate relationships." Marie whispered, "She's got paperwork, looks official. I'm almost certain it's forged. And she hired a PI to dig into your past." David slammed his fist against the table. "That's it, I'm going over there." "Wait," I cut in, gripping his arm. "Remember what Dr. Phillips said, document everything. If we confront her now, she'll spin it back on us. We can't give her that chance. We have to be smart." So, we went on the offensive. I called Dr. Richards and told him about Ella Laner's latest stunt. His outrage was instant. "This is absurd," he snapped. "I'll have the hospital's legal department issue a formal statement about your spotless record." Next, we spoke with our attorney, Sarah Chin. Her advice was blunt: save everything, texts, emails, voicemails, document it all, build your case. We didn't have to wait long for the next strike. The following afternoon, Child Protective Services knocked on our door. We received an anonymous report. The social worker explained carefully, her tone betraying skepticism. I welcomed her inside, showing Lily's tidy bedroom, her medical records, her honor roll certificates. Then I laid out the thick folder of documentation we'd been compiling. "This is part of a harassment campaign," I told her plainly. She sighed, shaking her head. "Unfortunately, this isn't the first time I've seen false reports weaponized. I'll be flagging this as malicious." Relief flickered, but it was short-lived. That Sunday, Ella Laner staged her most public performance yet. "I just don't know what to do," she wailed before the entire congregation. "My son is being deceived. My granddaughter, she isn't who we thought." With a dramatic flourish, she pulled out a DNA test claiming Lily wasn't David's child. When Marie later sent us a recording, I almost laughed. The document was a sloppy forgery, riddled with misspelled medical terms, but the damage was real. Parents at Lily's school whispered, invitations vanished, even playdates were cancelled. One night, I watched Lily push her dinner around her plate in silence. My chest ached. "I can't let her keep hurting Lily," I whispered. "Maybe we should move, start fresh somewhere else." David gripped my hand firmly. "No, we're not running. She doesn't get to destroy the life we built." The next morning, I decided to fight back. I went door to door, visiting relatives who'd cut ties. I showed them hospital records, photographs, even the legitimate DNA test we'd needed for Lily's surgery. Aunt Sarah's eyes filled with shame. I don't know why we ever believed her. Slowly, apologies trickled in. One by one, relatives reconnected. Katie's mom unblocked Lily, and the cousins were friends again. The tide was turning. But Ella Laner wasn't finished. She convened a family meeting at her house without us. Marie attended and secretly recorded it. On the video, Ella Laner wept dramatically. "I've made such a mistake. I was wrong about Hannah and Lily. The doctors say it's early dementia. I'm so confused." My stomach turned as I watched. She was weaponizing pity now, faking dementia to dodge accountability. Worse, the act was convincing. Family members began calling, urging us to forgive her. David clenched his jaw. "She's lying. She's never even been to a doctor for this." I thought for a long moment. Then an idea struck. Sharp and satisfying. Call everyone, I told him. Tell them how devastated we are about her diagnosis. Say we want to help manage her care. As a nurse, I'll personally oversee everything. David's eyes gleamed. Checkmate. Within days, relatives flooded her phone, offering rides to appointments, asking for her doctor's name. And just like that, Eleanor's dementia vanished overnight. By then, the damage was irreversible. Her lies had collapsed under their own weight. Her credibility was gone. She's lost her power, Marie told us. No one trusts her anymore. For the first time in years, we finally exhaled. But just when we thought it was over, Eleanor made her final, desperate move, one that nearly cost Lily her life. I'll never forget that Tuesday afternoon. I was midway through a hospital shift when the call came. Lily had been rushed to the ER. Grandma said these were Mom's special cookies, Lily had murmured to the school nurse, moments before she collapsed. My pulse hammered as the truth clicked into place. Eleanor, she had slipped into Lily's school lunch with cookies laced with my prescription sleep medication, the same pills I'd noticed missing after her last visit. By the time I reached the hospital, David was already there, pale and furious. She could have killed our daughter, he said, shaking with rage, all because she couldn't stand losing control. Thank God, Lily recovered quickly, but this time, there was no spinning the truth. Security cameras showed her handing over the cookies. Toxicology confirmed the drug. Eleanor had crossed a line even she couldn't wriggle out of. That night, watching Lily sleep in her hospital bed, I whispered to David, steady and unflinching, I want to press charges. She needs to face consequences. The fallout split the family in two. Some finally saw her for who she was. Others defended her, insisting she just wanted time with her granddaughter, but the law didn't see it that way. Neither did the judge. In court, her mask cracked. She stole my son, Eleanor screamed, pointing at me. That nurse seduced him, tore him from the life he deserved. I was protecting my family. The gavel struck hard. Mrs. Peterson, the judge said coldly, you deliberately poisoned a child. You will undergo a full psychiatric evaluation before sentencing. The results were damning. She wasn't confused. She wasn't sick. She knew exactly what she'd done. She simply couldn't tolerate losing control. Her sentence, 5 years probation, mandatory psychiatric treatment, and a restraining order that barred her from ever coming near us again. David hasn't spoken to her since that day. Weeks later, Marie arrived with a letter in Eleanor's handwriting. I'm sorry, I see now what I've done. Please let me be part of your lives again. David read it once, then tore it clean in half. Actions have consequences, Mother, he said quietly, dropping the pieces into the trash. Lily is 10 now. Sometimes she still asks about her grandmother, but those questions are fewer, fading with time. We've built a new circle of love around us, friends and family who show up without cruelty or conditions. Yesterday, Lily sat flipping through old family photos. She looked up at me and said softly, Mom, I'm glad you stood up to Grandma. You showed me love shouldn't hurt. I pulled her into my arms, swallowing tears, awed by the wisdom in her young heart. The hardest battles often leave the deepest scars, but they also teach the most important truths. Eleanor still sends cards on birthdays and holidays. We don't open them anymore. Some bridges, once burned, are better left that way. The whispers have finally gone quiet, because in the end, truth always outlives the lie, if you're brave enough to fight for it.